Science fiction has always given us a picture of what the future might look like, right? Especially with artificial intelligence. But today, we're not trying to predict the future with some classic film. Instead, we're going to use it like a lens, a way to better understand the AI that's already here, all around us.
And this quote? It just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Think about it. For most of us, what we think we know about AI comes from movies, from stories about thinking robots and digital brains, long before we ever really used the stuff. It's like we learned the myth before we ever saw the math.
And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're diving into Steven Spielberg's 2001 film, AI Artificial Intelligence. Now look, we're not here to nitpick the science or fact-check the futuristic tech. The whole point is to use this incredible story to start asking smarter questions about the AI that we're dealing with in our own lives right now. All right, so first things first, let's meet the star of the show, David. And he's not just any robot. He's what the film calls a mecha. And trust me, he is at the absolute center of all the big questions this movie raises. So who is David? Well, he's this super advanced robot boy, a mecha. But here's the kicker, he's the very first one ever designed to feel love. His human mom, Monica, flips a switch, basically, and he imprints on her. She becomes his entire world. But then, things get complicated. Her real son, who is sick, comes home, and David gets abandoned, just like that. And this is what sparks his incredible, heartbreaking journey to become a real boy. Because in his mind, that's the only way he can ever win back his mother's love. And listen to this, from the actor who actually played David. He said, this mission, this quest, it's everything to him. It's not just a goal, it's his entire purpose. It's basically his core programming. And that relentless, single-minded focus is what drives the whole film. And man, that's where the line between what we call love and what's just code gets really, really blurry. Okay, so we've got this wild story. How do we actually use it to think about the AI in our world? Well, lucky for us, there's a really handy framework we can use to break it all down. Think of it like having 4 different pairs of glasses to look at the movie with. First up is AI literacy. Simple question. How does the movie want us to believe this AI actually thinks? Then there's AI ethics. What are the tough moral questions being asked here? The risks. Third, AI fluency. This is all about how the humans and the AI talk to each other, how they interact. And last, AI development. This is where we kind of play detective and try to figure out what design choices the filmmakers and David's fictional creators made along the way. All right, let's put this framework into action. And what you'll see almost immediately is a huge gap opens up between the real world of the movie and the real world we're all living in. Okay, the biggest, most obvious difference? It's love. It's emotion. In the film, David's love feels so real, so deep, like a genuine human connection. But in our world, today's AI, it just doesn't work like that. It's amazing at spotting patterns, at doing tasks for us, but it's not self-aware. It doesn't have that kind of general intelligence. And it for sure doesn't have anything that even comes close to what you and I would call love. And this quote from the great film critic Roger Ebert just cuts right to it. He basically said, look, David's quest isn't this beautiful, tragic love story. It's more like a computer program stuck in a loop. It's not something to cry about, it's something you just reboot. And that raises a huge question, right? Is he really feeling love, or is he just running his primary code perfectly, forever? And this is where we bring it back down to earth. This quote from Meredith Broussard is perfect. She says the simplest way to get it is to remember that AI is just math. Yeah, really complicated, kind of beautiful math, but still math. When you think of it like that, all the scary sci-fi stuff falls away. It's not some magical thinking being. It's a tool, a process, and it was built by people. Okay, so if David's tech isn't real and it's not a prediction of the future, then what's the point? Why are we even talking about this movie? What is this story really about? So is this film just another one of those classic sci-fi warnings about the dangers of robots becoming too advanced? The whole they develop feelings and we can't control them thing. Well, not exactly. The real story is something much closer to home. Nope, it's not about the robots, the futuristic cities, the advanced mechas. That's all just the backdrop. The real story here is about us. It's about human choices and the consequences that come with them, especially when we're playing with powerful new technology. Roger Ebert had another killer insight on this. He pointed out that maybe the real drama, the truly interesting story, wasn't the abandoned robot boy, but the parents who threw him away.
The toughest questions in this movie aren't about AI. They're about our own humanity, our own capacity for love, for responsibility, and yeah, for cruelty. And that right there is the big takeaway. The movie AI isn't a warning about what technology is going to do to us. It's a mirror showing us who we already are. It just uses this idea of a robot that can feel to ask some really old, really human questions. Questions like, what is love? What responsibility do we have for the things we create? And what does it even mean to be human anymore, especially when those lines are getting fuzzier every day? So I'm going to leave you with this to chew on. What stories are shaping the way you think about AI? I mean, really think about it. Is it movies, news headlines, the ads that pop up on your phone? Because just noticing those stories, that's the first step to really thinking clearly about the kind of future we're all building together.